All right, here goes chapter 17 summary and discussion of To Kill a Mockingbird. We begin with the trial, which is going to consume the next few chapters. And so in the beginning of chapter 17, we meet Mr. Gilmer. He is the prosecutor who questions Heck Tate, which he is the sheriff. And Heck Tate states that on the night of November 21st, Bob Ewell convinced him to go to the Ewell house as his daughter Mayella had been raped. And so Tate says that when he arrived, he found Mayella, who was beaten and bruised, and she told him that Tom Robinson had raped her. So Atticus then decides to cross-examine the witness, who admits that no doctor examined Mayella Ewell, and he tells Atticus that Mayella's bruises were only on the right side of her face. And so Tate leaves the stand, and then Bob Ewell is called to the stand. And so here is when we get a little bit more information on Bob Ewell. And we find out more about the children of the Ewell family, that they live behind the dump and that their father does not treat them right. And we also find out that Mayella, she basically is the caretaker of the children. It's a very sad situation. And so on page, I think it's 227, it is, so 227 in this book, we get a really good description of Bob Ewell. His name is Robert E. Lee Ewell, and Harper Lee did that on purpose, so think about that. That is an allusion. What would that be an allusion to? But she says, in answer to the clerk's booming voice, a little bantam cock of a man rose and strutted to the stand, the back of his neck reddening at the sound of his name. When he turned around to take the oath, we saw that his face was as red as his neck. We also saw no resemblance to his namesake. A shock of wispy, new-washed hair stood up from his forehead. His nose was thin and pointed and shiny. He had no chin to speak of. It seemed to be part of his crepey neck. And so, what animal is Scout describing here? Well, she's describing, it almost sounds like a rooster, a turkey. I would say more like a turkey. He strutted to the stand. The back of his neck was red. He had a crepey neck. He had wispy hair here. He had a pointy nose. So he's just a little unattractive, but he also resembles a turkey. And so Bob Ewell is an extremely rude little man, and he testifies that on the evening in question, he was coming out of the woods when he heard his daughter yelling. When he reached the house, he looked in the window and saw Tom Robinson raping her. Robinson ran, and Ewell went into the house, saw that his daughter was all right, and then he ran for the sheriff. Atticus's cross-examination here is brief. He asked Mr. Ewell why no doctor was called. He says that it was too expensive and there was no need for one. Most fathers would have called the doctor immediately. That's very questionable. Atticus then has Bob write his name. The jury sees that Bob is left-handed, and a left-handed man would be more likely to leave bruises on the right side of a girl's face. And so Atticus is saying the way that Mayella was hit makes it look like that he could have possibly done it. And so he has made a really good case here. And then we'll find out in chapter 18 what happens, but Atticus is pretty much on point. Atticus is doing the right thing. He's making the right moves, but will the jury do their duty? That's the question. All right, let me know what your questions are.